Hi, welcome back to another Crypto Day video. It's Friday evening today, and as usual I'm doing my weekly crypto roundup video. So before we jump into the stories this week, let's take a quick glance at the markets. And as you can see here, we're just a fraction under 330 billion. Bitcoin dominance 38.4% at the moment. It's been a poor week really across the board. I think the only currency in the top sort of 20-25 that's seen positive kind of growth this week has been Tron. I think Tron's up probably about 3% overall, and that's really just because there was a massive kind of spike up beginning of the week before everything then has kind of pulled back in this kind of like second half. So Tron, I think the only coin in the top 20 in the green. Everything else down. I think Bitcoin's down about 9% in the last 7 days. Most of the other large altcoins are down between sort of 15 and 20%. So another very disappointing week on the markets. It will be, I think, really interesting to see in the next kind of couple of weeks whether this bearish trend continues or whether we, as we have seen in the last kind of day or two, we've seen a little bit of more sideways movement. So we had this big kind of pull down over a period of about sort of 2 or 3 days, and now we've seen a little bit more sideways tracking on all the large kind of altcoins as well as kind of Bitcoin. So it'd be interesting to see whether we start to kind of like gain back some of those kind of losses this week in the following week, you know, whether the bulls kind of like can take a little bit more kind of control or whether it's just a pause before we start to see further losses. But Bitcoin seems to be trading, you know, within this sort of 7.4 to 7.5, so 7,400 to 7,500 kind of range. So interesting to see really whether it breaks above or below that. But it seems almost like quite a long time ago. I know it was only 2 or 3 weeks when Bitcoin was testing that $10,000 mark. And as I said at the time, I think we need to kind of reach that. We need to breach that $10,000 mark and hold above that for really to be in a kind of bull market. So interesting to see what will happen in the next couple of weeks. But let's jump over to the first story. And the first story this week is Bitcoin Pizza Day. So it was the anniversary this week, May the 22nd of Bitcoin Pizza Day. For those of you who don't know, back in 2010, on May the 22nd, somebody bought 2 large Papa John's pizzas for 10,000 Bitcoins. Now, at the time, that was worth about $41, $42. Here we are sort of 8 years later, and, well, currently today it would be a little bit less, but back on May the 22nd, these 2 pizzas would be worth about $82 million. So really goes to show how much kind of Bitcoin price has increased over these last few years. It's really exponentially kind of exploded when you're thinking, you know, 10,000 Bitcoins would have bought you a couple of pizzas, and, you know, 10,000 Bitcoins today would buy you, you know, many, you know, quite large houses. So really interesting to see how things have developed over the last few years. But it's a really popular day within kind of cryptocurrency. Anybody who's been around for a while sort of celebrates each day. There were some kind of quite amusing kind of memes and quite amusing kind of posts on Twitter celebrating the day. But let's jump over to the next story. And this story and the next one this week on the same kind of topic, and that is attacks. It seems to be a week of coins being attacked. One of the largest stories this week, Bitcoin Gold was hit by a double spend attack. So this was a 51% attack. So somebody managed to get control of over half the network hash rate and managed then to start mining kind of blocks, sending the proceeds of those kind of blocks over to exchanges and spending them, and then resending those same kind of transactions out to other things. So this is what's known as a double spend attack. If you control more than 50% of the market, you can kind of commit these kind of attacks, and we've seen a few attacks this week, but it was, you know, quite large scale. So if you look at this Bitcoin address here, I'll put all these links below, but this address, which has been implicated in the attack, has received more than 388,000 Bitcoin Gold since May the 16th. It's about $18.6 million. So obviously quite a large attack. And jumping on to the next story is Verge. So this is, again, another coin succumbing to an attack. Now, Verge is not so much of a surprise. They've been attacked before, and they've been attacked again. Now, Verge, a little bit like kind of Digibyte, uses multiple algorithms. So it has 5 mining algorithms, and 2 of them were were attacked and gained control of two of them. So that's Script and Lyra to Rev2. And basically, this is a timestamp kind of hack. So this is similar to what happened to kind of Syndicate with the speeding up of block creation time. So blocks were created with incorrect kind of timestamps, and this causes basically the difficulty. So you can see here the difficulty of these particular algorithms that they were attacking drops massively kind of low. So it makes it incredibly easy for them to then start creating more and more blocks on the same kind of algorithms. So they are creating blocks incredibly kind of quickly, whereas everyone else is kind of mining the kind of original chain. So their chain becomes incredibly long. It becomes the kind of official chain rather, and all the other miners, you know, stuck on the other kind of chain have no chance really of mining blocks, because these sort of dodgy ones, for want of a better word, are mining basically with zero difficulty. Everyone else is mining with, you know, relatively kind of high difficulty depending on the algorithm, but not as large as Bitcoin Gold in terms of amounts, but still 35 million Verge. That's worth about 1.75 million. So a large attack. Verge, it's basically the same or very, very similar to the attack that was carried out on Verge a few weeks ago. The trouble with kind of Verge, and you know, I hope that Verge disappears pretty soon, is that the dev team then started to blame it on a distributed denial of service attack just on mining pools. They have not patched and sorted out the kind of attack after the last attack, and so, you know, there have been repeated attacks. So it's a real shame for kind of for any kind of currency to be attacked like this. But Verge, you know, have not got a handle on it. Their tech is pretty kind of poor. Their dev team are incredibly weak, and you know, if nothing else, you know, they're not truthful when these things kind of happen. They try to cover it up, you know, repeatedly. So you know, it's a shame to see any coin being attacked in this way, but you know, Verge is an easy target really, and it's, you know, not that surprising to see Verge attacked again. Certainly, you know, far more surprising for things like Bitcoin Gold to be attacked. And I think the Bitcoin Gold attack also, it's on the Equihash algorithm, so I think it kind of opens up, you know, worrying times for other coins that are on that same algorithm, be it kind of Zcash, Zencash, and others like that. And Bitcoin Gold, you know, is not a tiny coin that's easy to manipulate. It's a reasonably sized altcoin. So yeah, you know, worrying times, I think, for potentially a number of cryptocurrencies at the moment. Anyway, let's jump on to the next story. And that is the Marshall Islands. So the Marshall Islands have officially made a cryptocurrency their sovereign national currency. So it's going to be called the Sovereign, SOV is their tag, and it's been developed by an Israeli company, a fintech company called Nima, and basically it will become the official legal tender for businesses and residents of the Marshall Islands. Now, at the moment, they're using the US dollar. I imagine that, you know, day to day that will continue to be used. But, you know, really interesting to see a small territory, you know, take things into their own hands, you know, and, you know, create their own currency, and not just, you know, a fiat kind of type currency, but a cryptocurrency. So it's a really interesting story. I don't think it'll have a massive effect on the kind of markets or anything like that, or other kind of people. This is, you know, a tiny little kind of island nation, but, you know, really interesting to see it happen. And if they get through all the kind of legal ramifications, you know, for kind of other kind of international kind of transfers and stuff like that, I think, you know, it could have implications from that point of view of other national kind of cryptocurrencies or other sort of state cryptocurrencies in the future. It's not necessarily that people kind of want that, you know, the idea of, you know, state-run cryptocurrencies are not necessarily what, you know, a lot of people have in mind when we talk about kind of decentralized currencies like kind of Bitcoin and most of the large kind of altcoins. But, you know, really interesting kind of story nonetheless. Now let's jump over to the next story, and that is Coinbase. So Coinbase have acquired a decentralized exchange called Paradex. Now, I have to admit, I hadn't heard of Paradex before this story came out. So it's a decentralized exchange. They deal with ERC20 tokens. They have a number of kind of tokens on their platform at the moment, not that many, but once it's implemented into Coinbase, it does basically open up Coinbase to being able to kind of like use basically any ERC20 token that they like. So once the technology is kind of implemented, it means it'd be very, very simple for them to add other tokens in the future. So there were some big tokens currently on Paradex. I know Amize is probably one of the largest ones on there, but you know, it does open up in the future the ability for Coinbase rather to have this kind of functionality in their platform. So yeah, really exciting news there. I think it'll be kind of like a few months really until it gets implemented completely, but yeah, no, really good news for those of us who have been waiting for additional coins and additional tokens within Coinbase. And the other news on the same thing is that the GDAX, which is their exchange, that's the Coinbase exchange. So if you have a Coinbase account, you also have a GDAX account. Even if you don't know about it, you can use the same login credentials to log into GDAX. But that whole exchange is going to be overhauled in something that they're going to term a Coinbase Pro. So I'll put these links down below. So a lot of this sort of exchange functionality will go into kind of Coinbase Pro, and they're looking to kind of overhaul and expand out the kind of offerings within what at the moment is GDAX. So anyway, that's it for the stories this week. Let's jump over to the giveaway. So here's the giveaway here. Only 5 unique commenters this week. So let's press start. And this week, of course, we're doing a Navcoin giveaway, or Nav giveaway. And the winner is Wardo. Thanks for all you do. After watching all your videos, I picked Nav as my second staking coin. What are your thoughts on staking Ontology? It should start paying out Ontology gas after May the 30th. That is something I really want to look into. Ontology is quite a cool project, and if it is going to be kind of staking, it's certainly something I'll be looking into. But congratulations, Wardo. I will grab your address here. Let's just take a quick glance and see how many coins we need to send you. So if I grab my calculator here, 0.976098, so it's 10.25. So let's send that over. I'll just grab my wallet. So it's your address, 10.25. So sorry for those audio issues there just at the end while I was sending the coins over to the winner of this week's competition. Congratulations again to Wardo here. You should have your coins now. Next week's giveaway will be Syndicate. Those of you who watch my Monday morning staking and masternode update videos will know that Syndicate has been one of the kind of coins that's been the backbone really of my staking and masternodes. So since the coin swap, everything seems to have kind of stabilized on the network. It's running really well. My masternodes are both running really well, and I'm staking on my other wallet pretty successfully. So Syndicate will be the next week's giveaway coin. So if you're interested in finding more about it, syncs.online is the new website. As I said, it is a staking coin. Anyway, that's it for this week. Thanks very much for watching. If you want to enter next week's competition, you just need to be subscribed to the channel, give me a thumbs up, and leave a comment below with your Syndicate address in it. That's all you need to do. Thanks very much for watching. Have a great weekend, and hopefully I will see you on the next video. Take care. Bye bye.